Hey everyone, welcome to LimitLess Radiocast, episode 114. Chad and I get to hang out with Daugherty today. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu second degree black belt, training out of Ohio for many, many years, and also fought in UFC number 2. We get into some great conversation about where his career went after he fought in UFC, as well as many other topics like BJJ, where it is today and how things are going, and are we in the golden age. So you guys throw those headphones on, turn that volume up, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hey everyone, this show is also being brought to you by Global Auto Detailing, located in North Canton, Ohio. They have interior services, exterior detailing services, complete detail services. You can get monthly memberships. You got to check these guys out. They are great at what they do. Warpath 55, located in Massillon, Ohio. Lanky Fight Gear. OldBonesTherapy.com. Thomas Webb of DeHoff Realtors. Kandray Law LLC. Magic City Brewing Company. M&H Beans Coffee Company. Ronald E. Butler Tax and Accounting LLC. LimitLess Tape. Listen guys, these are our sponsors and they help us tremendously each and every week do this show. So we ask you guys to support them as much as they support us. Now enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Hope all you guys out there are doing well. So Chad and I have the great honor to hang out with Daugherty. He's a second degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He also had the honor and privilege to fight in UFC 2 way back. So that may show his age a little bit. Sorry, Sean. Thank you so much, man, for hanging out with us. We appreciate it very much.
I'm stoked, man. Like I've always seen this podcast. It's like, man, these guys are awesome. I really like this. I'd love to be on the show. So it took me forever to be like, you know, 'cause I don't want to ask people, you know,
Sure, yeah.
You know, feel audacious or something, you know, like, hey, can I be on your show? So yeah,
Right.
I reached out to Chad, you know, and I was talking to Brian Rogers. I was like, hey, I want to be on their show.
Oh yeah.
You know, I want to get on there. It's a nice quality show and everything, and they talk about real things and good things. So I'd like to do it. And he's like, yeah, man, just reach out. So
yeah, we'd love to have people. I mean, we love to have people who, you know, like we were talking before the show, like just real organic conversations about real things that we're all dealing with. As we said, you know, we're older, we're in our later 40s. And you know, we've seen a lot. We've come through a lot. You know, you've been around, you and Chad have been around for a long time in the martial arts world and BJJ and MMA and Muay Thai. And, you know, so I think it's vital for people to hear what we have to say for a reason of knowing to go through adversity, build themselves up, hear some funny stories about some quirks that we all have, but to understand that you can do it as much as anyone else done it, you know, like trying to just get that quality of life to people and just have good conversation, build relationships and networking.
Yeah, well, it's the responsibility of the old vampires to train the new ones. So
right, for sure, definitely. Yeah. So how's training and stuff going, man? Now, how you feeling?
Oh goodness, let's see. I haven't trained for myself, like jiu-jitsu wise and martial arts wise, in the sense of like me rolling and stuff, since my last time I could really roll well was about 2016.
Okay.
And that wasn't even rolling well. I was maybe at 50% capacity at that time. My lower back is fused and my neck is fused. So in 2011, I had to get my neck fused, because my left arm was basically paralyzed. Now my left arm is completely like half the size of my right.
Oh man.
And then in 2012, this is when I was coaching at Strong Style. I woke up one morning with my left leg paralyzed, and then they went in and did a partial discectomy in my L4, L5. That reherniated like 3 weeks later. They went back in and did another partial discectomy. It reherniated like 6 weeks later. Jeez. And then they went in and fused it at L4, L5. Yeah, dude,
man, brother. Yeah. So I'm going to ask, this is from a life from being in martial arts, UFC, like from fighting, right? MMA. Like, I'm not saying that there's a difference between when you did this versus now. We talk about this. We've talked about on the show, the training, the different ability, the push of that. People are pushing you, you know, trying to get you, you know, to do it no matter what your body's feeling like versus being smart now. Go ahead.
Yeah. That was the beat it harder mentality. If it hurts, beat it harder. There was no healing. There's so much overtraining earlier on, like I call it the wild, wild west days.
Sure.
You know, the 93, 94, 95, 96, even 97, 98. We're kind of still it was shaping. The stuff that we don't know that we are enjoying today was pretty much it's showcased was in 2002 by Stephen Bonner and Forrest Griffin. But before that, UFC was not a household name. I mean, the political party that embraces it today was the political party that demonized it.
Demonized it before. Yeah. I've heard this.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? You're like, pay attention.
It is. Yeah.
Look at the shifts in politics
Mm-hmm.
and how everything works and dude, it shows you the bullshit. But anyways, of both sides, I am completely I'm disenfranchised, by the way. I'm a political entity. It's silliness. But like it wasn't really a huge name until it didn't become a household name until about 2002, 2003, after the first Ultimate Fighter.
Okay.
So it was just, it was a hard sell.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, I think back in, 70s, 60s when, the professional wrestling became more on the scene, and it was a hard sell then for people. It was more of a circus act, of things that happening until it's, obviously a multi-billion-dollar corporation as the UFC is now. And they're, not saying people are treated correctly. I'm just saying from the corporation as a whole, because someone's making their, some CEOs and owners or whatever making theirs. But there are people that had to go through, the trials and tribulations, and you are one of those individuals that went through.
Yeah, we're one of the bricks in the wall. All in all,
you're the build. It was built on the shoulders of fighters and martial artists like yourself to be where it is today. To be honest,
I'm not a champion or anything like that. I'm more of a trivia question. Like I would be in the encyclopedia of UFC who had the shortest fight and who lost to a ninja.
Sure.
Kind of thing.
Sure, but you're part of it.
Exactly. I never.
But
quit.
you're a block. You're a block that built that foundation to be what it is today.
I've trained many people. I've done more of like behind the scenes work. Like I've never gone away. Once I started, I never stopped.
Yeah.
My graph, so I started martial arts in 1990 with kickboxing in Cuyahoga Falls.
Okay.
It was right there on Portage Trail, right across the street from Rocco's Pizza. And, I started kickboxing, and for me to kickbox, I had to choose a martial art to have as a base. So I used Taekwondo because it was American kickboxing, and, kicks were the specification of Taekwondo. So I used that, and trained and fought, got my black belt in Taekwondo, as a teenager. And then UFC 1 rolls around. I watch it. I'm like, whoa, this is the ultimate test. I need to be in this so I can see if my skills are good.
Sure.
So I'm watching it with my friends, and I'm like, I'm going to be I say it. I go, I'm going to be in the next one. And Ken Shamrock really stood out to me. Jason DeLucia really stood out to me. Just for somebody, like, cosmically speaking, what I mean? Like, I just felt like a connection was. Now, Ken was more of like, ooh, what a dick, kind of thing. And Jason was intriguing because Jason was technically the first submission in the UFC. He was an alternate, and he did the rear naked choke on Trent Jenkins as, as an alternate match. So I end up, things just fall in line. I was in a situation where I got to meet Kevin Rozier like a week later.
Oh, wow. Nice.
He was in the fight. He was friends with some friends in Buffalo, New York, and I was helping him with a karate tournament. And I asked him if he would just take me under his wing so I can turn pro kickboxing. I wasn't even thinking UFC. And he set me up a fight to watch me and see if, I was worth taking in. I won the kickboxing match and went back and home, and then I moved in with him January 1st of 1994 in Buffalo, New York. And I didn't really know what I was getting into. I was only 18 years old, just graduated high school, and this guy was a bipolar manic depression. Bipolar manic depression with a cocaine addiction, and he was homeless. So I was going into a homeless situation, bouncing around from like a hotel to hotel, living in the dojo at somebody's place. This was like for a month. Charlie Anslow and his manager was like, Sean, what are you doing here? Like if I would have known he invited you to come up here, I would have told you, no, you don't understand. He goes, but since you're here, you want to fight in the next UFC.
You're like, well, since you're here, you're like, yeah, sure.
So I go back home to Ohio. I get my car, just go. He was like, go home, go start training, and we'll go from there. And then I train, and I get to like 2 weeks prior to the fight, and I get a call from Art Davey, and he goes, Sean Daugherty, Art Davey here. Got some news. Ken Shamrock just broke his hand in training, and we need you to take his spot. Instead of, because I was just going to be an alternate. So that moved me into the main card. And I ended up being the first fight of the night, which was Big John McCarthy's first Let's Get It On. I was the shortest fight of the night. I lost to a ninja. That's the guy who Scott Morris elbowed the hell out of, which gave it the human cockfighting thing. And then I went out to eat with Ken in the train up week, but right when I lost, he when at dinner, he invited me to become a member of the Lions. It was a recruiting.
Nice. Okay.
He ended up recruiting me and Jason DeLucia. He watched us train and helped Jason train, and he was there when I was doing my training throughout the week and stuff. So he was impressed, whatever. So anyways, after I lost to Scott Morris, I lost in like 20 seconds. So I had tons of energy. I was like, what the hell just happened?
Sure.
He comes running across we were the first fight of the night. I figured we'd fill each other out, and he comes running across the ring, full sprint. And I throw a couple, leg kicks and a couple punches and a elbow, and I kind of lose here, and I go down like this. He wraps me up, does a sacrifice roll. I pull his legs over on top of me to full mount while he's got head and arm choke. And I just remember, in the pre-fight rules meeting was to, tap 3 times, and I'm sitting there, my world's going like this.
It's getting smaller. Yeah.
and I remember, tap 3 times. So I was like, I distinctively tapped 3 times, and I get up and I have full energy. I'm like, what the hell just happened? This is crazy. And Ken pulls me aside and makes me sit with him. And he says, look, your first lesson is losing with dignity. Don't, lose with sportsmanship. Don't be professional. Don't show the negativity.
Sure.
This is coming from Ken.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing.
Who is, yeah.
Right. Okay. But that kind of stuff stuck with me. The shit Ken told me that maybe he didn't live by, but I was in an impressionable time. I was 18 years old,
sure.
That kind of thing. And I was listening to anything anybody fucking told me. I did everything exactly what I was told, and when it came to training. And so I moved in with him, and then that's a whole other crazy. But that's the beginning.
But that was the beginning of your kind of your journey
of grappling. Yeah. That was when I knew I fell short by fighting in the I tested my skills in the UFC.
Sure.
And I came up short in the grappling. So, one of my philosophies of life has been turn my weaknesses into strengths.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
So I became a black belt in judo, Shingi Tai Jiu-Jitsu, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then I'm well trained in Sambo.
Oh, nice.
And catch wrestling, shoot fighting.
Yeah. Yep.
Fujiwara style. So I overloaded on that. Now I'm a better grappler than a strike. I'm a better grappler than a striker now.
That's what happens when adversity hits you in a certain aspect, and sometimes you turn it around. Some people can quit and walk away, and like you said, you didn't quit. You took it and absorbed it and said, all right, I'm going to listen to what these outside people are telling me, people that mentored you, so to speak. And then you turn it into a benefit to overcome. It's like we talk on the show all the time about that kind of stuff. Adversity is going to happen no matter what. Every person listening, every person in the world faces adversity, whether they're willing to admit it or talk about it, but you have a choice at that adversity. You can either quit, walk away, and allow that adverse situation to be the definition of your life, or you can react to it and let the reaction be the definition of your life. So you reacted to it and let now be the definition of that. You went all in, you know what I mean? And, and worked hard and to be where you're at now and sought after for people to speak to and have, knowledge. You can teach people. You teach people a ton of information. It's not a ton of data. It's like paying it forward now.
Yeah.
Being able to.
And I have this eternal feeling of imposter syndrome. But to me, imposter syndrome is like a superpower because it causes you to overcompensate.
Sure.
You work harder because you don't think you're not getting there, but you end up being further than what you ever thought. Kind of like in the military when the TIs are drilling into you, and they're making you feel like you're doing everything fucking wrong when actually you might be the best flight or the best, troop in the whole thing right there, but you don't know that. But you're always striving because you're always feeling like I'm not done yet. And I never feel complete. I never feel content. I never feel like I'm done. Does that make sense?
It makes 100% because I am that personality. I've been hammered in my life because of that. Because people are like,
it's a two-edged sword.
Why do you go so like, you don't have anything to prove. You don't need to do this anymore. And it's like, it's in me though. I have to keep pushing. I have to keep going. I have to get better and better because I think in my own head, it's at my own demise. There's no one saying this to me outside of going, Terry, why do you go so hard? At times in my life with certain things. Is that what you just said, Sean? Like, I feel like I have to because I feel like I'm never at that echelon. I'm never at that top where I want to be or where I think I need to be when I probably already am at a lot of aspects. My day-to-day job is like that for me. And people are like, dude, you've been here 22 years and you still go like you walked in the first day. And I'm like, I know. It's just ingrained in me, man. Like, I just don't know any different. Like I have to do this. Like, it's a downfall. My wife, thanks God, she loves me, but she's like, you're a crazy person.
Dude, my wife was like, why can't you just be content? Why can't you just,
That's
I'm
what
like,
my wife says.
Yeah,
I'm like,
no, I can't.
I can't be. I want to be. Like
Chad, I do.
You say all the time. Chad's like, we're all in. You're an all in guy, Chad. I mean, I know. Like you push. You want to be better, and you want to be. And it's hard to never think or to think that you're. I don't know. Sometimes I think if you feel complacent for too long, then you're going to be too lazy and complacent in life. Yeah, and maybe that's a bad thinking.
Yeah. I don't and I've been thinking too about just now when you said that, like we're all in, we are, because this is my 20th year of jujitsu. I started martial arts back in 82, I think was my first karate class. But as I get older, what does all in mean? Yeah, I train a lot. I'm lifting now, but the all in part to me is like when I'm at home, there's jujitsu on the TV, right? Like no matter what I'm doing, I've got some grappling going on, or I'm looking at something on my phone, or so that's the all in, right? So I think when people hear all in, they're like, oh, you train all the time, which I do. I roll a lot, but like, what it's never enough. Yeah.
Like mental training constantly.
And especially as an instructor, right? You want to, your guys come to you with questions. You want to kind of be up on some of the new stuff. Even maybe you don't run worm guard, but you want to know what it is, right? Like, I wish I would have done that back in the day with leg locks, especially as prevalent as they are now, right? They kind of came back around when I started jujitsu and where I would train, at East Coast, and I trained up at Dudu Barris's place, and footlocks were kind of a thing of almost disrespect, right?
Oh, yeah, they were rude techniques.
Yeah, they were rude
techniques. Cross facing is also was a rude technique.
Yeah, it's like, you didn't do anything with feet. You beat people with jujitsu is what they would say, right? Like, don't do that to you.
The Zapatero.
Yeah. So,
that's good.
Yeah, they call it in Brazil. They looked at it as a cheap technique.
It was a cheap thing. Yeah.
It was the technique of the of the peasants.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I remember, I said this before about, I'll go down rabbit holes of studying, reading, clicking on stuff, reading another story. And I remember reading that story where that's what they stated. Like anyone attacking legs or feet during a grappling match were considered peasants, a peasant move. I do remember.
Yeah. That tells me that's somebody who's lacking in skill.
And that's where,
people who say stupid shit like that, it's like, what are you hiding? Your small PP? Come on.
Right. And that's where, like in your time, Sean, do you think, has jiu-jitsu stayed the same or grappling, let's say as a whole, grappling, catch, all of it, as that Has that thought process, in your opinion, still stayed the same? Like the egos are still there a little bit. Like we say, it's kind of a cult.
Oh, we say check ego at the door, but it's the biggest ego driven fucking product out there.
Still, right.
Sure.
Like it's still okay.
Oh yeah. I mean, to me, it's all one. I think about that all the time. It's all jujitsu to me. You know what I mean? Kickboxing is jujitsu. You know what I mean? You know, firearms is jujitsu. It's just modern. But it's all jujitsu to me. It's all one. But everybody else wants to make it an identity. Like the catch wrestlers want to just keep catch wrestling. Jiu-jitsu wants to just keep jiu-jitsu. And then there's Brazilian jiu-jitsu versus American jiu-jitsu. And then there's Sambo, you get in the mix, and you got the judo guys trying to say, hey, it's always been judo. You know, it's basically
right.
You know, and I was hip to that from the beginning. Like I knew that there was other grappling arts other than Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and I was caught up in a rivalry with Ken Shamrock versus the Gracies. And I'm a loyal person, and I'm on the autism spectrum, and I just kind of just keep being who, you know, whatever it is I programmed myself to be at that time. And after a while, like when I got back to Ohio and in the 98-ish, I started training with Jason Gotzi and Chris Lytle. And Jason Gotzi is actually a Hickson. He was a Hickson blue belt, but that's all there were at the time was blue belts. So like when I explain to people my jiu-jitsu journey, you know, it's like I had nothing but, you know, it was like my MMA no holds barred training partners around the country were all Gracie Jiu-Jitsu students, and we all trained together.
Sure.
I taught them catch wrestling, and they taught me the jiu-jitsu. So, and it was just like this blend, and I just eventually got there. It took a very long time, but when the time came, you know, how many years later, I was 2018 when I was awarded my black belt, but I went straight from white to brown kind of thing. I was a white belt all the time, tapping black belts, and eventually it was just like, okay, let's
change the color of this guy's belt so people know.
Yeah, so I went and met with Carlos Catania, and he graded me. He put, you know, I was already a black, you know, like black belt level at the time, you know, but it was like 2016, 2017. I got, they had to put me a brown belt, you know what I mean? So, and I stayed in there for a couple of years, and then tested out and taught a seminar for my black belt.
Nice.
But it was so silly because I just had this, you know, rivalry where I could have just been so far ahead of the game if I would have just said, fuck it, you know, got on board, you know, marketing wise and things like that. It just would have been so much easier and so much better in my life. I probably would have been a black belt probably around 2006.
Okay.
You know, because I do from 94 to 2006, dude, I was training damn near every day. Constantly doing something.
Don't sell yourself short though, man. Like you're there now. Look at all the stuff that you've got to experience in your time.
It's just, man, I'm just so disappointed. Like the woulda, shoulda, couldas. I look back in my life with hindsight, you know, and there's just so much. Like if I just would have done this, if I just would have done, or if I would have just done the fucking leg lock videos in 2016 when BJJ Fanatics was first contacting me about it, and me thinking that my shit's not good enough. I'm not going to embarrass myself and have someone criticize me or whatever. It turns out I know what the fuck I'm talking about, but I didn't realize it. You know what I mean? I don't capitalize on myself. I don't believe in my own bullshit. That's the problem. You know, I think I'm a narcissist, therefore I'm not.
Right.
But, what about Bob? You know?
Yeah.
You know, but you know, so like I that's where I get the little bit of the imposter syndrome stuff. But it's like, you know, like I've been asked many times like to do BJJ Fanatic stuff, and I could have done it when it was hot, like the right time. Now it's oversaturated, and people are doing the shit that I've been like that arm
for
bar
a long time. Yeah.
You know, the cigar cutter arm bar, that variation everybody's been doing with the hook around the head. I've been doing that since fucking 2000. No, not even that. 98. It was 1998 was when I first learned it, and I started making it a series behind it. My leg lock system, you know, stuff like that I've had for years and things like that. But I see people doing the things that I was doing and getting made fun of or told that it was dog shit.
That or you know beforehand. I mean? Versus now.
It was the wrong time. I'm ahead of the time. And I'm stuck in this fucking purgatory of I can't like capitalize on all the shit that I've done. Like I told my wife one time, I was like, I've already done all the work to be a millionaire. I just got to figure out how to
capitalize on it. Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's my problem. You know, like I sent Emil Fisher a video of this guy doing something. Oh yeah, the arm bar from the back, but the hooking arm bar where and I have tons of videos of it. I've just like put out there. I'm like, see, this guy fucking did it. I'm not hating on the guy at all. The guy's name's Chad Keel, awesome guy. But he was just an example of like, hey, this guy capitalized. This guy did it. This guy believed in his shit and he fucking put it out there. I have a hard time. Like, I know I've been wrong.
Sure.
Right. And I was wrong in times where I thought I was right. And I'm thinking I'm speaking the truth. Right. And I'm getting people to fall in line. And then they're doing what I say. And then it turns out I was wrong. And I'm like, fuck, I've got that on my, I don't want to go through that kind of thing again. So that kind of puts me on guard of like, I guard my words. I don't always speak out and say shit and give advice because I don't know if I'm always right.
Sure.
And then when I see those memes about speak your truth, what the fuck is truth? It's your goddamn opinion.
Right.
It's all opinion.
It's all opinion.
That's very subject, right? Like I started putting videos out, I don't know, a couple, 2-3 years ago. And it's because it's Harry. Because he's like, just put your stuff out there. You know what you're doing, right? Like, who cares if somebody says that armbar won't work, right? Like, doesn't matter.
Dude, I have white belts and blue belts telling me that my technique doesn't work. It wouldn't work in a real. It's like, well, I've done this shit in a real situation wearing fucking Speedos, motherfucker, when you're completely slippery and
sure, right.
Yeah,
that's why I would say, Sean, like, don't allow the noise to to reflect your what if. Don't allow the noise to reflect your what if. It's cliche to say like do you, but when I say it, I mean it in the terms of not allowing the outside noise to dictate what your greatness is, what your ability is, because we all do it. Everyone does it. Everyone that walks through life does it every day, all the time. We all have battles. We all have things going on, and we all sit and say, what if, don't be that. What if, don't stand there and go, man, what if, like, don't reflect on that window or that door, walk through the door and be like, no, there is no what if, it's now. I'm going to do it now. And I don't care what anyone does. You've put in the time. Did anyone else that, that would criticize you? They get in a cage, they fight, they put your body through pain like that? No, most 99% of the time, they've never done any of that stuff, and they never will. They can talk all the good games and maybe few of them, but they're not going to come and criticize you because they know you put in the work. They knew who you were. So that's where I tell people all the time, I'm like, when you feel that adverse effect of other people, ignore that noise, because those people aren't mattering. They're not leading you. They're not giving you your ability and what you're doing. They're not pouring love into you. They're not pouring life into you. They're taking away life from you. So don't allow them to suck that life out of you. Allow yourself to project into what we want. I want you to pour into me. I want you to give that information to me. I want you to give it to the people that you're going to train, because it's the only way anyone's going to get better. It's the only, like I tell Chad all the time, it's the only way they're going to get better. Keep pouring into them. Keep pushing into them. That way they can walk away. Because someday you're going to plant a seed. It may not be today. It may not be tomorrow. It could be 6 years from now. But that seed is going to grow. You know what I mean? So just keep that mindset. Just keep pushing, man. That's all I would tell you.
That's all there is. That's what that tattoo right there means. Never quit.
Yeah.
Indomitable.
Nice. Because it's hard. And you guys, there's a generational change. There's a generational difference in between martial arts then and now.
Oh yeah.
The thought process is different. Obviously, everyone's trying to find a financial gain to do it. It's saturated, like you said. There's saturated information out there. We talk about on the show, like what's good and what's bad. How do you tell young students what to look at and what not to look at? You know what I mean? What to listen to and what not to listen to. So we live in that real world of whatever. I mean, shoot, doing a podcast, I still get it to this day. You're gonna be 47 years old. You do a podcast about jujitsu or life or whatever, and I'm like, I do, because people told me for a long time that I was nothing, that I'd be dead in the ditch. I was told that a lot when I was a kid. And I was told that, you know what, you're not going to succeed because you're a dreamer. You're never going to be this. And I allowed it to affect me for a long portion of my life. But then I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to keep speaking and keep working and keep working and keep
I think that's where the imposter syndrome comes from, is from those speakers.
It does.
It's early programming. Because
100%, man. 100%.
You know, we didn't have the word ADHD back then. You know, I was just put in a cubicle.
Right.
You know? And I was called the crazy one or the one that was, you know, just most likely
doesn't function right, doesn't do this.
Yeah. I was either going to be behind bars or become a lawyer because of how much I argued and fought back. You know what I mean?
Sure. Right.
But, you know, but I saw through the bullshit of the fakeness of this world. You know what I mean? You know, because like everybody says that's just not how it is. You know, in the real world, you know, like there's this, yeah, that's how it should be, but this is how it is, and you got to play the game. I was never about playing the game. You know, that's the Illuminati type,
right.
You know, stuff.
Right.
The playing. I knew about the Matrix when I was a kid. You know what I mean? I just didn't have words for it. You know, I knew that this was all bullshit. You know, and I was the kid who pointed out the feet that I saw underneath the curtain. You know, the man behind the curtain. Sure. And they're like, no, there's no man. No, don't fucking gaslight me. There's definitely, I see the man behind the curtain. Right there. No, there is no man behind the curtain. You're a liar. You're misinformed. You're stupid. You know, whatever. And these are adults, and you believe them, and it's like, okay, whatever. You know. But that's kind of like a gist of where I was growing up all the time. It was like, you know, I would call things out, like, you know, like tell people secrets or whatever. I just didn't know any better. Turns out I'm on the autism spectrum, and everything's kind of literal, and I'm just kind of
right.
You know, it's kind of innocent in a way.
Yeah,
naive is a good word. I grew up very naive.
Sure.
Jason DeLucia really pointed that out when we lived together. But
I think a lot of us do, in a lot of different aspects of things. And then when you find out or you see it, you know, for the realism of what it is, you're like, oh crap. You know, like
like when we found out, my wife was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense.
You know, she's like, now I know.
Yeah, she's like, I knew it, you know, kind of thing. Because you know, my kids are on the spectrum, so they got to go back and find the head vampire. The head vampire in my family is my mother. You know, and we misjudged her. You know, we were very harsh on like her, like the way she did things, and we had no idea.
That's the thing.
You know,
like we
didn't know either. You know, but now if we know better, then we can do better, I guess.
And I look at it. Did it suck for all that information to not be known? 100%. Are we in a better place now? 100%. So some people had to go through the adversity in order for us to get here today. So guys like
it
you
made us
Chad,
dig and try harder. Yeah, it made us guys like us to dig and try harder.
Right. Like in jiu-jitsu.
Dude, it was literally, you got to run and catch up to this train. We're not stopping. You have to catch up.
You have to. Right.
There was no, hey, we're going to slow down a little bit to help you, you know.
Sure.
You know, it was just, but I'm not going to be the guy that's going to pass on the beatings either.
Right. You know, well, that's what I mean. Like,
this is what was done to me. I'm going to be more kind and patient with people in my surroundings.
Sure.
Whether I agree with things or not.
Right. That's a reflection on doing jiu-jitsu. Like you start as a white belt, and white belts before your guys' day, you were beat on. A lot of white belts aren't beat on now. They are, but it's not in what, but not in, you know, I try to have this correlation because people are like, you know, you just suffer and you have to embrace the suck. You do, but the suck you have to embrace is that you actually suck at it. It's not that someone's beating you up.
Yeah, it's an ego suck. It's an ego suck. You have to be willing to look stupid for a while before you can become smart.
Like, I believe some people outside of our practice of doing martial arts, they have a perception that I'm going to come in and you're just going to beat me up every day, Sean, for 3 years or however long it takes. And then it's just going to keep happening to other guys. You know what I mean? And that's not true. That's not like you're getting beat up because you don't know what you're doing, but you're not really getting beat up. You're just being tapped because you don't know what you're doing. Right, Chad? Like,
well, yeah. I mean, what's that word mean? How, you know,
that's what I mean. Like it's,
back when Sean started, beat up meant something way different.
Right.
You were literally getting your ass kicked. Right. You know, I've said it several times. My first class at East Coast, it was only no-gi back then. I got heel hooked my first day, and nobody, like, when a new person comes in now, I tell them, hey, if it hurts, tap. If, you know, we give them a breakdown of what to expect. I had no idea what to expect until it hurt. You know,
the perception has changed. I think it's changed for the better because we
yeah.
can get obviously more people to come through the door. We can convince them.
Well, it's a legitimate, lucrative business now, right? For people to run gyms.
True, yeah.
I mean, or run academies.
Well, I mean, think about it. It was more private before, right? So like people could be that way. Like it was like if you came to show up, you paid your dues through your blood and through your getting your ass beat and showing up again and again and again and again. It was kind of like an initiation, an unsaid initiation. Ken had initiations, but like where I trained with the IF Academy, Integrated Fighting with Jason Gotzi and Chris Lytle, 97, 98, 99 was when I in 2000. That was a few years. Shit, I was driving out a 4-hour drive for me to go train.
Which is another thing too.
Yeah,
people drove very far. But go ahead, Sean.
Yeah. Oh shit. What were we saying? I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're okay. You're training several years with Chris Lytle and initiation. You were talking about initiation.
Yeah. Your blood, sweat, and tears was your dues. That and the tougher you were, the more you took, and the more you're able to push. Like when my first time I grappled with Ken, the first thing he did was he ripped my right ankle with an outside heel hook, and then ripped my left ankle with an outside heel hook, and then he made me go run 2 miles.
Oh, jeez.
But I can escape heel hooks like crazy because
when you're put into them a lot by people who are ripping on them.
The only way I'm gonna get caught in a heel hook, and I don't care who the fuck it's by, is if I get tired. That's it. Once I start getting tired, that was when my technique. That's your energy. So shin, gi, tai are 3 Japanese words. Shin means mind.
Mm-hmm.
Gi means technique and skill. And tai means body conditioning. And the shin is mentality, mental toughness, alchemy, being able to deal with things, handle pressure, not panic, all that kind of shit. Know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. That's what shin is. Gi is technique and skill. That's the things you learn and how well you can implement them. Tai is the body. It's your conditioning, your flexibility, your strength, all those kind of things. Chad, you recently over the past year or so have more committed to Tai. I see with your weight training.
Mm-hmm.
John Saylor and I, we were with Westside Barbell, Louis Simmons since the 90s, right? John Saylor wrote books with Louis Simmons. We're the Shingi Tai Jiu-Jitsu organization is where like the fighters and all the stuff that Westside does for fighters is from John Saylor. So without your body to be able to continually do the what takes you to employ your technique over and over and over again is endurance. So as long as I have the endurance to employ my technique of whether it be escape or attack, defense or attack, it is predicated upon my ability to do it with energy. And that's why you have to have added training other than just the mats.
Sure.
Yeah. That's where that comes in. I just thought that was a good little tie in there because, Chad, you've been hitting the weights like crazy, motherfucker. Like, I'm proud of you, man. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's, it's been it was last fall. I don't know, August, September or something. He's a very good friend of mine now. One of my white belts, Glenn. I found out he was a personal trainer and I'm like, hey, you want to trade private lessons? He's like, absolutely. Right. So I do private lessons with him twice a week for jiu-jitsu. And then he personal trains me twice a week. So it's like, it's the perfect storm. Right.
Now, do you notice your technique and skill rising?
Oh, it's yeah. I mean, it's
huge.
It's
huge. Not as a person that's rolled with Chad, not in a technique has gotten more crisp because he's stronger. His ability is quicker.
It's kind of the fast twitch stuff. It's framing. It's I can move somebody a little bit better with my technique. One of my brown belt, Tim Stinson, who's awesome dude on many levels. We were talking about he's a strong dude. He's an athlete. I'm like, I can't imagine
actually.
Well, yeah,
he's super weak.
He's not. But I told him, I'm like, I can't imagine how you feel being as strong as you are. He's like, listen, most people start jujitsu already being strong and have to figure things out.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, you have 20 years of jujitsu and technique, and you're adding strength to it. So you're gonna see it a little differently. And man, I would, again, that whole,
It's
wish you
like
would
gi
have
to
done,
no gi.
yeah,
It's
wish you
more
would have done things
more
sooner,
grips.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
having the stronger body is like putting on a gi. It gives you more opportunity.
more opportunity.
Go
Yeah. So
from
man,
no gi to gi.
yeah, and I'm loving it. I'll be 49 this year. So, the longevity to keep my body protected as well. So
When's
yeah,
your birthday?
September 22nd.
Okay, I'm April 12th.
Yeah.
I'll be 49 as well.
Yeah.
Bunch of old guys.
Just getting started.
Yeah, just getting started. That's right. Start
Oh, God.
lifting. Sean's going to
Yeah.
start rolling. He's going to come out with this whole new series of stuff. And
Oh God, man, not with the way my back is even worse. I'm literally like I'm on a countdown. I have a timer of like when I'm gonna have to get back surgery again. So I'm just like making it prolong as long as I can. I'm just trying to teach as much as I can. I'm gonna teach until the wheels fall off, kind of
Sure.
thing. But my days are very, very numbered. So yeah, coming out of retirement is not even a possibility. I mean, I guess I should try being the positive person and think that it can be, and that I can heal myself and all that kind of stuff. But I got L2, L3 are bone on bone now.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
forming
grinding
it.
away.
And I got these bone spurs growing towards each other, trying to lock that thing in place.
They're going to put
Yeah.
some, they're going to go in and put some cushion between it, or are you going to have more fusing?
No, the only thing they can do is fuse it. So
Fuse
like
it. Okay, I didn't know.
it'll be my whole lower back would end up getting fused. And that changes
Ugh.
everything. So my
Yeah.
whole jujitsu journey has been adaptive in a way.
Sure.
I've had so many surgeries. I've had 6 shoulder surgeries alone.
Man.
Yeah, so I've had my arms taken away from me. And that's where I developed my no hand leg locks, my no hand submission series, like all the things I do without actually using my shoulder. I use taught me how to use my hip bone.
Yeah.
So, and it just turned out to be better technique in the long run. And like all my weaknesses turned out like somehow strengthened me. Like we talked about earlier when I fought, I made that my strength. So it's just been I've just been natural. Like when you're a latchkey kid, you're forced into stoicism. Like I'm a stoic. Okay. Just by nature. That's how I had to, my developmental
That's how
years
your development grew. Yeah.
Yeah. But my other side is hedonism. My, the paradox side, it's hedonism.
Sure.
Like because I know how to discipline myself and I know how to go without, I also like to indulge, as well.
Right.
At the time, I try to have balance and everything, but
sure.
Yeah. It's
well, at least you get to, I mean, think about it too. Like, at least you get to teach still. So you have a ton of knowledge. I mean, like there's that mental exercising and that mental thing. So you can still pour that into others. Like you said, you're going to keep teaching until the wheels fall off. Even if you're not able to go down there and physically do some of that thing on the mat, you can still move around enough to.
Yeah. I'm able to at least demonstrate.
That's what I mean. Like that. And that goes a long way because look where we're at now. What we just talking about, like where is jujitsu now on a spectrum? There are obviously a ton of people training, and we want that.
It's very accessible, is what it is.
It's very accessible.
It's virtual, in person, videotape. Before it was you got to drive 8 hours or get a VHS videotape.
I hear these stories from Chad, and I'm like, man, like I miss it because I am. I didn't start in my 40s. I didn't start jujitsu till I was in my 40s. So it was like, man, I do say the what if. Like, it's the one martial art I didn't do. Like I did a lot of other martial arts growing up, but I didn't do that. And I always wanted to. And I just didn't have the belief or confidence in myself.
On the flip side of that, all the people doing jiu-jitsu can't say they did all. Look, you have traditional martial arts background to compare. And also there's Kung Fu in my jiu-jitsu. There's Taekwondo in my jiu-jitsu. Okay.
Sure.
There's like it's all one. It is all one, man. I feel sorry for the poor schlubs who don't learn a striking art.
Sure. I will find myself using arm, the way I move my arms more in a like Kung Fu type style when I'm doing jujitsu. Because I like the sliding and, very, very fluid and moving around things, instead of, just grabbing. Now I will grab and pull and whatever, but still like, it's just different.
One of my favorite ways to lock Kimura is like this.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
hitting
Like
Kimura's with
going over. Yep.
Yeah. Think of praying mantis.
It's wild after starting and doing it. And I've had a couple people like with certain takedowns, like using, like a block, like a block to block their arms so I can get a double leg. And they're like, what is that? And I'm like,
oh, dude, I pass. Like I'll do and pass over to push off the tricep, get to their back. You know what I mean? It's all there.
Sure. Yeah. Which makes it great. I mean, and Chad always tells me it's okay. At least you're doing it now. So,
that's it.
It's good. At least you're doing it now. Which I love. So, but good, man. Yeah. Good stuff, dude. I forget. What else were we talking about? I lost my train of thought, Chad.
Of course.
It's kind of a conglomerate at this point. It's like, it all blends together.
It does all blend together. People have hammered me that too, outside of like, if they have listened to the show or a little bit of the show, if they hear I have a podcast and Chad and I are, partners in this endeavor, they'll be like, dude, like you like go off the rails. Like maybe you guys should talk, like write some stuff down. And I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like that.
No.
Like, I don't want to write anything down. I like things just to happen.
That's not how life is. You got to go unscripted with things because you get some cool shit out of it. If you stay on script, like there's this saying that came to me, I wrote down is, the plan is fixed and immovable and the plan is temporary, or it's disposable.
Sure.
You know
yeah.
The goal is there, but the how to get there is a disposable kind of thing. You got to be able to adapt and change throughout. And when you don't have this strict, rigid, dogmatic outline, it allows for creativity to blossom. And then once that creation happens, then you can focus on that thing and kind of go down the rabbit hole of that.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So it creates the unstructured.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
And also we're three intelligent beings. We can always bring it back to full circle and
for sure.
And bring it back together.
Hey, in your time, go ahead, Sean.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, in your time of being involved in martial arts and in the community and whatnot, what is the biggest change that you've seen, in your opinion, from then till now?
Well, this might be an odd thing, but you guys should be able to agree to this because you're both early on traditional martial artists. It's no different than karate. It's just remember the context shapes the content. The players are the same. No, it's just Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instead of Tracy's karate. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the new Tracy's karate, guys. The contracts, the money contracts, the marketing, all the kind of shit. It's just went from Tracy's karate. It's the new karate. So I'm going to say how it's similar. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. No.
Right. Yeah.
That's how it hasn't changed. The only thing that's changed is the style. The model's still the same. It's the Ponzi pyramid scheme kind of idea. The Gracies were very smart marketing wise and capitalist wise, dude. They came and they're like, look, there's no grappling arts really hot right now. All they have is high school wrestling and this WWF. Let's see if we can, this is the perfect time for this. Now, if it was a Sambo guy who came and did the UFC and started instead of Horion Gracie with Art Davie, it would be Sambo would be what
we would all be
hot
talking
thing.
About. Yeah. And Chad, you brought that up
because you would have saw how Sambo beat all the
striking arts.
All the striking arts, right.
The Gracies were just smart and they were opportunists and they did it.
Yeah. They capitalized on the moment, which so many people do in history. But
they took basically just judo.
Yeah. They took that chance. We were talking how you didn't take those chances early on, right? Of doing an instructional or whatever. They jumped on it. I was just telling one of the guys the other day about how smart of businessmen the Gracies were, right? Like they made it, they'd walk into karate schools and just this is it. We're the best, right. To get those, to get members or whatever, however they got the word out.
And that's how we were talking the evolution of jiu-jitsu in the past, or martial arts, however you want to speak of it, to now. No one's traveling to go to seminars like you two did. We just talked about this not too long ago about not as much. So unless there's, the Gordon Ryans and the what's his name? But those I want to say the top professional guys, if they're going somewhere and someone's willing to pay $150 for a seminar or whatever it may be versus $25-50 seminar, you know what I'm saying? Like you spoke of this, Chad, of you guys traveled, you drove, like Sean, you were just talking about earlier, you drove to train all the time because you had nowhere to train. So this is what you did, and you were all in, you worked towards that, and you did it. And people went to seminars that came in, hey, you know, so-and-so's coming in, dude, that guy's a black belt or that guy's a purple belt. And you know what I mean? And you drove. Now
black belts were a scarcity. Purple belt was a scarcity.
Sure.
For
back in the 90s.
So unicorns, as I hear all the time, which it's, you know.
But and I think it's just a different type of support you get. Like seminars, when I have a seminar, it's usually just our guys. Maybe you'll get a couple guys from other gyms, but like I was saying, Sean, before in other podcasts, that there's black belts at all gyms now. Not like when we came up, right? I have 5 black belts at my gym now. So to the normal hobbyist, they're like, well, why should I pay $80 for the seminar when I have you guys? Which is you know, they should still come. You should still want to learn from others, obviously.
Right. In a few years, there's going to come a time when there's going to be jujitsu people who don't even realize that there was a time when blue belt instructors were phased out, or like there was the conversation: should we allow purple belts to run a school? Can a purple belt own a school? You know, like all these. You know, remember I'm talking about like all these questions. It's like, you know, of ethics of like, how should we do this now? Kind of thing. And and black belts are everywhere, where it used to be, you know, it was a fucking blue belt.
Dude, your unicorn. I kind of lucked into teaching the gi program at East Coast because Mike Broom, one of my really good friends, was a blue belt at the time. He couldn't teach anymore, and he talked Mr. Hyman into letting me teach. I was a 3-stripe white belt, right? Like I knew a few things, and I would get some DVDs or videos or whatever we had, and you know, YouTube was kind of starting to get some popularity then, obviously, but you just went other places for content. You drove, you did seminars, you know, you did stuff like that. So
that's grit, though, you know, and that was part of it. You know, like we talked about earlier, you know, about what's changed. Oh, what's changed? Let's talk about, like, before we got on camera, was what's changed in the landscape is the mentality of, if it hurts, beat it harder.
Right.
You know, like, we would go, like, any kind of a match, like you would talk about today, people have like, oh, I have a sprained something and I can't take the fight. Dude, we walked in with a broken rib and a broken nose already before the fight even starts.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And we were training with it for the past 3 weeks, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like there was no healing up, dude. There was no, every injury was just, it never had time. Hence, I've had 25 fucking surgeries.
That's why, exactly.
It's a mixture of martial arts and military.
What branch military were you in, by the way?
Air Force, but I tried out for pararescue 3 times.
Oh, okay.
Which destroyed me.
I bet all that jumping and stuff. Well, thank you for your service, man. Yeah.
No worries. I got medically retired, and you know, I have insurance for life. You know, they're taking care of me. I'm one of those situations where I'm being well taken care of. So I don't talk shit about the VA and I was, like I said, I was just really taken care of. I had a good experience in the military.
Good.
But what was I saying? Oh shit.
Yeah, I interrupted you. Sorry.
Just about being hurt, about being hurt more.
Yeah, like you built
back in the day.
Oh yeah. Now people are more smart. Like even Jason DeLucia and Frank and I, we talked about that, because like when we were at Ken's, like our diet, he had us on a bodybuilder's diet, because in Japan they really like the muscular look, the bodybuilder look, the pro wrestler muscle.
Yeah, the look.
Yeah, it was the Ken Shamrock look.
Right.
And so we ate low fat chicken and rice and broccoli diet, and we couldn't have any fats, or, you know, like, we had to stay lean, and that was so bad for your joints and stuff. We used to sneak off and get Whoppers and beers just to kind of get more calories in.
Yeah.
But like diet is huge now. People are more educated. There's more of a less ignorant approach to all the training, you know. They're learning how to heal, where you look at all these modalities. We're using, you know, cold and heat and sound waves and electric waves, all these different ways to heal. So it's definitely I think we're in the golden era.
We are
of jiu-jitsu right now. I think we're at the golden era. This is about as the best it's going to get.
What a lot of what I see, a lot of adaptation, because I have a lot of coaching background, in youth sports and whatnot. We've had some really good friends on the show that are coaches and have spoke to this. The change of that, taking care of yourself, where heating, cooling, all that kind of stuff is huge factors now. And the science behind the body and understanding what it takes to take care of that body versus just brute force of the chicken.
It was a badge of it was more of a badge of honor.
Yeah, 100%.
To fight through this pain. The more pain you had and the more you fought through, the better. But you were fucking ruining your career. You just shaved off 5 years of your career.
Yeah.
Now we're like, no, let's fucking be smart about this. I tell my fighters, I used to be the coach, just like, no, fuck you, you're gonna fight. And I also didn't like my guys tapping from chokes kind of thing. I was kind of, but that's how I did myself. I was like, I don't tap from chokes, but now we know about bisected carotid arteries. Now we know about, there's things we didn't, Chad, there's shit.
Yeah. You guys had no idea.
Like, we're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're
100%.
having unsafe sex and not knowing AIDS was around or something. You know what I mean? We were just fucking around. We had no idea that the lake we were swimming in was a cesspool.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it goes like the military. The military has changed. It's changed like from when you were in the military, like boot camp and stuff. Yes, it's super hard and it's super aggressive and it is a reprogramming system in terms, but I think soldiers who enlist now, or individuals, young people who enlist now, they're taken care of differently because there's more accessible stuff.
It's education, right?
It's more education of what.
I mean, all of this learning. Just us,
We're evolving now. More
evolving.
It's an existential evolution that's taking place, and it's just how it happens. Dude, I'm proud. I like the millennials. I like the generations, whatever these guys are, who are saying fuck you to these fucking wages. And saying, I don't want to live in this fucking world that you left because you fucking, did too much coke in the 80s and you didn't give a fuck about who you fucking buddy fucked, and who all you screwed over with your fucking greedy decision making. Your Wolf of Wall Street was like everyday person. You know what I mean? Like, those kind of people. Those are all fucking the baby boomers that were so mentally deranged from their upbringings,
Sure. Hey, Sean, you said something that was intriguing. BSJ is in its golden age. How long do you think the golden age will last? Do you think it's here for a while? God. Do you think there'll be another? I've never asked this to Chad. This is a great thing. I have not. I know what you're talking about. I've heard of it, but I've never read it.
Plato's Republic is a book every fucking U.S. citizen should read, especially right now. It just really gives a lot of insight on how things are the way they are and why the way they are and all that kind of shit. But there's a point where they're talking about when the city becomes feverish, the city meaning society, whatever the poles. Everything's just kind of running amok. Anything goes, everything goes. It's crazy. We're kind of, the whole world's in that feverish city right now. And it's permeated all aspects of our society, and I think that's also part of it with the martial arts community. It's a circus right now. You've got this show, you've got this $100,000 payout, all this stuff's, we're kind of crescendoing. You know what I mean? That's what I feel. I don't think it's going to get bigger from here. I think as a whole, we're going to see some kind of a shift. I don't know what it is or whatever, but things are going to shift.
That's interesting. I like to hear that perspective because I don't know that anyone's being honest about it. I think everyone's just stating, yes, we know it's getting bigger and it's been bigger every year, but is that bubble going to burst because of what's out there? You know what I mean? Because of the saturation and because of social media and what have you. I think it's a great topic. Go ahead, Chad.
And what does bigger mean? Bigger to us because we're in it, right?
Because we're in it, right? Exactly. So
to us, and I think it was an interesting thing that Emil put up the other day. Sean, I don't know if you saw it. He's like the best women's WNBA player still has like double the followers of Gordon Ryan, right? So
we're a niche within a niche. We're a subcategory.
Yeah, so Gordon Ryan has over 1 million followers. So in the jiu-jitsu world, it's like, holy crap.
That's a lot,
right? That's a lot, but in the big scheme of things, it's obviously not, right? So
yeah, fractals.
Yep.
We have 1,000 followers on Limitless Radiocast. We're looking for 1 million. Anyone out there want to help us out? No, I'm just kidding. Because Chad and I have always said that's never been a thing for us. Like, it wasn't a matter of who follows us, who listens. It was a matter of
and that mind boggles me. I look at I was like, this is a good quality thing, and it's like, how in the hell? Are you guys really only at 1,000?
I don't even know. I'm just joking.
I figured you guys were like, I would put you guys like at a 10,000 if I just had to go off my head.
Well, here's the thing too, is we've never done any paid ads, any paid boosts.
Everything is all by mouth or whatever we do.
It's definitely legit. Yeah, we have 710 followers.
Oh, there you go. We don't even have 1,000.
710.
However, our show, we get a ton of we do
a lot of views.
We do a really
that's weird. It's interesting how all those work.
Yeah.
So, but we've always perspective. Yeah, like it was good. We still, I don't know. Some people joke about trying to be Rogan, Jocko, and guys like that or whatever who are promoting jiu-jitsu and whatever. And I was like, yeah, but we've also, if you listen to our show, it's not always all just about jiu-jitsu. It's about things that, just life in general, or things that are happening, or things that are going on, or, stuff like that. So it's always interesting to hear the perspective. And, when you said that about the Golden Age, I was like, man, that's really good. Cause we haven't really talked about that yet, like ever on the show since this is this will be our 114th show that we've done since we started. Mm-hmm. So it was nice. See, a new thing that we haven't really talked about, that bubble bursting, which I do think about it because I'm like, man, when's this going to burst? Cause it seems like there's fighting amongst the top echelon of it. And then there's guys like us trying to get as many people as we can to understand it's one of the greatest martial arts you can ever do in your life, to change your life, and not only, change your life, but network and have friends and family that you're never realize you were going to have before, right. All that kind of stuff. So it's an interesting conundrum.
And it could just shift, who knows what's next? Is it American Jiu-Jitsu? Is it, some other hybridization, or who knows? It shifted from Tracy's karate to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
What's the next shift?
Right.
Is there a next shift? I don't know. It's like, but I do feel just as a whole, something's up. And, it's like the city is definitely feverish, like when you got slap fighting being entered in.
Yeah.
I just can't believe that's still a thing. Like, it's amazing to me. I'm trying to find the appeal to this.
That shows me that people like this, a general lack of care, empathy, and respect for your fellow fucking human to sit there and I hate watching it. I have a disdain for it. Like, I'm like, no, I am not going to watch my brothers and sisters fucking do this. Like, I'm not going to encourage this. This is brain damage.
I was going to say
fucking brain damage.
Like, what are you doing? And play devil's advocate and say,
and you got Dana White being
right,
like this,
right.
It's like, see, that tells me what I want to be a part of and what I don't want to be a part of. That's something that's going to be happening. Like, you see this kind of like the separation within the community, like you see it, some of it within politics, you see it within religious and non-religious, or whatever. And you kind of see kind of like a gathering.
Right. Sure.
Of each type, and it's just interesting. It's an interesting thing that's like because it's a template, or not a template. It's a medium and another medium in which we display what's going on as a society.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to deal with, we're dealing with trans stuff. We're dealing, because the competitions, that's another thing that's in there. Another spectacle that's happening is that topic of who we let, and then it goes into like, kids, boys and girls going against each other. And there's that topic, you've got racial shit, you've got other shit, you've got all kinds of things that we deal with in this. And that's where jiu-jitsu is cool. Like, this is where we can talk about how jiu-jitsu is life, where like how we deal with it in jiu-jitsu, you have push and pull.
Yeah.
Judo and jiu-jitsu means to yield, right? How to just let things fly by you.
Mm-hmm.
Like scroll instead of say something.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
You know, that's
right.
Jew, and that's the Jew principle of it when you're scrolling. You know, like when you're on social media, if you don't like something and you disagree, scroll it.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have my opinions about things, and when I'm talking, I'm not afraid to say my opinion out in public. It might offend people, right? But I'm not trying to offend them. I'm just saying how I feel about it. You might hold that thing dear to your heart. I'm sorry, but that's not something I can get into, you know, or vice versa. You know, somebody might feel the same towards me. So, but like we learn how to flow. You know, what it does is the jiu-jitsu community kind of takes like the big macro and turns it into a macro, fractals it.
Yeah.
Get what I'm saying?
Right. You're right. I mean, I have explained this to people that go, "Oh, I always wanted to try jiu-jitsu," instead of me saying, "Oh, it's a great workout, this and that," I will try to say you will learn to flow with events in your life outside of jiu-jitsu. That's what it'll do for you. You will learn how to flow in things better in your life versus, you know, how you do now day to day. Because
it's an alchemical process.
Yeah. I mean, jiu-jitsu teaches you that.
You learn how to transmute energy, like, you know, a direction flow change, you know, from comes at you and you turn it, you know, using a curve, you know, and things like that. You learn how to flow and deal. Yeah.
Let go.
Just let go. Yeah. Let it go. And obviously, you know, as Chad, you know, you've brought up many times, Chad, like you have to be in the moment. You can't think about anything else when you're on the mats.
Yeah, that's
it. Like you do have to focus on not getting choked, not getting armbarred, doing the right technique, trying to do it. That's also an aspect of, hey, when you're in a moment outside of life, you need to focus on what you're doing. You need to stay focused.
Mindfulness.
You know, mindfulness. Yeah, you got to be mindfulness is a great word to say, Sean. Like scroll by, be mindfulness. Scroll by that nonsense that, you know, like right now.
That might be the
Go ahead, Chad.
Sorry. I was just saying it might be the best part of the podcast, Sean, is just talking about just letting things go and just scroll. Yeah. Right. Like I've you know, we I'm sure we all know somebody that sees something on social media and it legit ruins their day and they're seriously mad. I have never, ever gotten to that point where I see something and that it ruins my day. Right.
Right.
Like it's crazy, but people will let that happen, man.
Yeah, they do.
They will let that happen.
You know, I'm in my brain. It's a third world country.
Yeah.
You know, I'm living in a first world country, but in my brain it's third world. And
when you look at like social media,
because I'm like, I don't, the things that bother other people don't. It's like, dude, unless it's a war happening in my front yard or something is a threat, I don't give a fuck. I let people feel and think how they want to think and feel. Okay. Yeah. And aside from me now, unless it's going to really seriously harm somebody else, like in the moment, sexually, physically, whatever, mentally, you know, then I intervene. But other than that, to each their own. Like, for example, like people like Tom DeBlass recently, he's kind of getting more vocal with his faith and Jesus and things like that. I'm not that guy.
Sure.
Okay. But I personally feel religion is one of the problems with the world. However, you know, he's a good dude.
Sure.
He loves his Jesus. And if that's helping him and all that, fuck yeah, Tom, I'm going to give you a heart on that.
Sure.
I don't care. I'm not a Christian, but I'm still going to support you and your thing. But he's like saying how there's got a ton of people who's just got to come and say shit to him when he does these posts. He's like, I do nothing but I help people. I help with the kids getting bullied and this and that. And I say something about Jesus and you got to come shit on me. Fuck that. You know, you know, I'm a pretty blasphemous human. I'm blasphemous as they come. Okay. You know, but I'm not going to hurt someone.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's not,
but not the person who believes in it.
Sure. Yeah. Cause there's a great argument there. I mean, there's a great argument on the two fronts of, you know, if you got into that, like there's a difference between someone believing in God, believing in faith, and the spectrum of what religion has done or what Christianity has portrayed to people and chastised people. Fortunately, I'm a Christian and our church doesn't do anything like that. Like I can dress like this and talk like this and go to church and it's still the same. It's like there is no difference. Like there is no they don't care who comes. It's all about reaching people and stuff like that, and treating people right, and empathy, and and stuff like that.
And if that's like liberation theology, I was a minister for 22 years.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah. And now, like, when I say, like, I don't believe in religion now, do I, like, I don't know if there's a Jesus or anything like that, but if there is, he knows me and I know him, and
Sure.
we're cool.
Sure.
Very cool. Like, I want him to be real, and I want that God, the Jesus that I believed in.
Sure. Right.
That wasn't the same thing that everybody else was.
That there's a lot of different.
I wasn't into this.
Yeah.
I wasn't into this patriot Jesus.
Right. Yeah.
The political Jesus. Okay.
Sure.
The corporate Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
That's not. I understood it differently. So I could not be around it. So my Christianity, or whatever, my religious, my spiritual walk is done through my actions and how I treat others on a daily fucking basis.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. It's and that's as far as it goes for me. I don't say anything else. I don't praise nobody, nothing like that. Especially, like, dude, fights. I think of, like, if we're all God's children and one is saying, like, imagine having children, right? 4 kids. One of them says, "Hey, Dad, I know you love me more than the others because of the way I think. Help me kill them."
Right. Like, what?
Help me go to war and kill them.
Yeah.
Because we know we're your chosen people. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know, that's where like, without religion, we could not have had slavery in America. We could not have had atrocities happen, without some kind of religious text saying so, or somebody interpreting it.
It's an interpretation of, and the people allowing themselves to dive into it. That
God is not a God of war.
Right.
God is only a God of peace. If it's not peace, love, and understanding, get rid of it. That's not religion. That's not truth. Right. If it doesn't heal and mend and help people, then be gone.
It serves no purpose if it does not.
Yeah. And that to me is what spirituality is. It's
100%.
It's not reading anything. And one thing I've just learned over the past few years is the veil's been lifted. Like, the word apocalypse means to reveal. It's not like an ending or anything. It just means the great revealing, revelation. And over the past 4 years, we've learned that we've been lied to, that our science, the data we have as far as, like, science as a general, is kind of skewed, very skewed. Hell, we've learned that the seed oils are terrible for us, and it's actually what's causing heart disease versus, you see what I'm getting at?
Sure.
All the things we were basing our reality on, we're fucking finding out is not real.
Sure.
I'm not a flat earther, but God damn it, everything's so fucking muddied water that it's like, okay, I'm allowing there to be a possibility.
Sure.
You see what I mean? I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So I'm taking more of a Taoist approach of, and taking Jesus's words literally, to find the kingdom within me. I no longer look outside of me for information to learn anything. I do it all within now.
Yeah, within.
Because it's all there.
Sure.
All of eternity is within me, and all the knowledge is in there. Right?
For sure.
That's the only place I can trust now, is my intuition, and from the things that I thought I knew or whatever.
Sure.
Nothing's real anymore. Everything's left to interpretation and opinion, and everyone says they've got the truth, and I've got the truth, and this is the truth, and they're all fucking just sitting on their pile of opinions too, and everyone's pointing the finger at each other. It's everybody's problem. This is where the city's feverish. We're in this weird place, guys.
Sure. Yep.
And
that's why we should do jujitsu.
Exactly.
To help it all, right?
Dude, so I'm a 3rd degree Mason. And I did it just out of curiosity, and because it's just kind of things that led me to it and things like that. And the whole thing behind it is taking a craft. It could be any craft. You could be a boat builder or jujitsu or whatever. Jujitsu is a Masonic order. It's jujitsu represents the human. Okay, and all that goes with humanity, right? And everything that deals with humanity is what we deal with in jujitsu. Adversity being first and foremost, looking for opportunities, looking for threats, looking for weaknesses to become stronger. How to let go at times, know when to push, know when to pull, know when to let go, know when to, do this or that.
Sure.
And it's a metaphor. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
And as we practice the craft, the jujitsu is the craft, and we do it mindfully, we're going to see a change in our regular life and the way we act with other humans.
Yeah, 100%. Yep. Yeah. It does for sure. That's like it comes back to it's full circle, like what you talked about in the beginning, and in general, and that kind of senses in what we do and why we do this and how we fall in love with it. And, being a jujitsu practitioner and living in that world and getting on the mats and all that kind of stuff we talked about many times on other shows that's what it comes back to. And, mindful is a great way to say it, like being mindful and what you're doing and everything. So it's good stuff, man. Sean.
Yeah.
We've had you for like an hour and a half, brother.
Really, it's been that long?
Yeah. It goes quick, doesn't it? I know. It doesn't seem like it ever, but
no, I really enjoyed it. This was just such a nice flow.
Why don't you do this for me, man? Why don't you shout out anything that you want? We always want to promote anything that you're doing, whatever you would want to talk about. And any other time you would ever want to come on and talk about the show, reach out, come on, we'll talk about things and, have a good time. As always, man, we're always.
Oh yeah. I feel like we only just scratched the surface.
Yeah. That's right.
We got some other things to talk about.
That's right. That's what's so good about, what Chad and I try to do always too. And we do this all the time, don't we, Chad? We're always like, we'll do a good hour and a half show. And then we're like, we got a lot more stuff to talk about. So that person's coming back on the show because I feel like there's information. You have good information for people to hear, good information to share. And it's good conversation. It's conversation that's intriguing and educational for individuals to listen in every day of life. I don't care if you train in jujitsu or not. If you don't train in jujitsu, go share this with 10 people that don't and get them to hear something else different than what they're hearing in their day-to-day operations. Because it's stuff that's going to help you, man. It's going to, it's going to project you and everything. So go ahead, Sean, shout out any social you want and everything, man.
So I guess this is the best time. I was like, so the past couple of months I've been trying to sit down and do a face or an Instagram live and kind of tell people about my health and shit like that that was going on. And what my plans were, because everything was kind of up in the air, but I'm just going to plug myself on this one is
good.
That I want to teach as much as I possibly can to as many people as possible in front of as many cameras as possible, just so that when the time comes that I can't, that I at least passed it on. I've figured some things out, I've done some things, I've created some things, modified things. I have a literally, like an autistic ADHD approach to it. And it gives, I've been around, I've done all the striking and the throwing and the submissions. Like I know how to put it all together with MMA, jiu-jitsu alone, throwing alone, all these kind of things. I'm coming to this fear aspect in my life of all the things that I did, and it's all going to be lost because it's knowledge based. Alzheimer's runs in my family. Those are fears. My body's dwindling. I just want to teach as much as possible until I can't. So if anybody wants to reach out to me. I'm not the kind of person to call you and say, hey, would you like me at your school? Yeah, I really think you love me that much, kind of thing of, a guest teaching night or a seminar or whatever it might be. The way I'm retired, medically retired military, I've been budgeting off my retirement with a 6-member family and I'm trying to teach as much as possible until I can't and make as much money as possible.
Sure.
To be fucking honest.
And that's
literally, this is my feverish city almost. I have so much to do in so little time.
Do you journal?
What's that?
Do you journal?
I used to.
Okay.
I haven't journaled in a long time, but I'm going to start
journaling again.
I'm going to start making video memoirs.
And okay, there you go. One way video or writing, do it video wise, man. Make as many as you can. I don't care if they're 2 minutes. Just keep making them.
Yeah.
Just keep making them.
That's my only spiel is follow me on Alien Blueprint Instagram and
good.
Interact with me and say hi and make me feel relevant.
Sure. Yeah. You are, man. You're a block in the system that was built that, I mean, I'm on top of that wall because I came in late. So you're a block that built before me so I could be on that wall, and many other people, beside myself, Chad included, there's a huge block underneath that and teaching me, obviously, and my coach. And there's a lot of people out there like that. And I would tell all our listeners, as I do each and every week, support not only just the people that we have on the show, but support the guys who have legacy in this.
Yeah.
Guys who have built this, like pour into those guys because they poured it out for the beginning people. Go ahead, Sean.
I'm like Vampire Lestat. I need some Louis.
To keep going.
The new vampire doesn't know yet. You have to teach them. It's important to teach them to train them. So
that's funny you bring that up because I actually thought they did a great job when they redid the series. I actually like the series. First, I love the movie because it was older, but if you guys haven't watched the series and you like Interview with the Vampire, Anne Rice's version that they did on AMC was really good.
I have to tell my wife about it. She might like it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
We'd like that together.
It's a little different, So
you guys have LimitLess tape, right?
Yes.
Finger tape.
Yep. You need some?
Yeah, I'll come up and I'll buy some.
We got it. We got it.
Chad is the LimitLess tape CEO.
Yeah.
He's the chief operating officer.
Yeah. Excellent. I did some custom gear for your from a Hudak up at Tackle.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, I did some no-gi gear for him and some gis I just sent him. So
oh, awesome. Yeah, I gotta look into what all you do. Let's catch up, man.
Yeah, for sure.
You're a little bit of an enigma to me. We don't know each other totally well. We've got so much in common and we've got things going on. We've just never actually just really sat down and hung out.
Yeah.
We need to do that sometime.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, absolutely. I like that.
Good. Well, Sean,
sounds
thanks,
good,
man. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for coming on the show. Like I told you before, Chad and I obviously will more than willing and welcome you any single time. Shoot a text, shoot a DM, whatever it is. Hey, I got something to talk about. I'd love to come on. We'll set it up and get you back on the show. God bless you and your family and everything that you're doing. Keep up the great work.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
For sure, man. Keep up the great work, the great attitude and mindset, man. Just keep pushing, right? Just don't.
And same to you guys.
Yeah,
dude, you guys are wonderful. I mean, I sound corny as hell. I know. No, it's just good. It's just,
hey, it's good to be patted on the back once in a while because trust me, I walk away and text Chad and go, man, what'd you think of the show? Like, you're my partner with the show. And I'm like asking him because sometimes we don't get any feedback. And I'm man, I suck at this sometimes.
Yeah, especially you're always going to get a kick in the butt before you get a pat on the back, right?
That's right. 100%.
I always say, especially Terry's in the corporate world still, and that's 100%, right?
Yeah. Like, I get kicked all the time. I got kicked.
You're gonna hear when you mess up before you hear when you did a good job.
That's why I self-abase myself so fast before they can put me down.
Sean's like, let me do it to myself first.
What a fucked up world. World.
I know, we live. It's wild, isn't it? All right, brother.
All right, guys.
Man. We'll talk to you. You guys take care. We'll see you.
See you later.
Later on.